If you're speaking, we can't hear you, by the way. It says you're transmitting, but we don't hear anything. At least I don't.
Alright, we should be live.
Do you hear Sakurai? Levea?
I do not hear him. I don't think we're live.
I see us.
Oh, you
We're
see
live.
us? Okay.
Yeah. Discord
Okay,
overlay and
good.
everything. Just dealing with some technical issues with Sakurai right now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, nothing. You might need to, maybe you've got like the wrong device set on Discord. I don't know how if you go on Discord calls often, Sakurai. It could just be Discord messing up at the moment. Like I definitely see that that you're transmitting right now, but just nothing. Is there like audio on the crested stream that we were streaming from?
Audio. No, it's just I don't hear anything from it.
Fair. So this should be an interesting match
Oh,
for
I
everyone
agree.
tuning in. Everyone here, hopefully when Sakurai fixes mic problems, is quite well acquainted with Iron scoring, so we should have some good commentary. Hopefully everyone can follow along with everything that's going on. Yeah, hi Cal. How's it going? There's some echo apparently.
Echo.
Is it
Might
like
be on
from my
my end.
microphone? I don't hear any echo.
You don't hear any echo?
Yeah, I don't hear any echo in the actual in on Discord myself. If you got the stream audio on, if it might be like recording the stream audio itself, maybe.
I'm not sure.
Is the echo just on me, or is it on every both Levea and me? It's just on me. Does my mic sound funny?
What it sounds like's happening here is I think your voice is actually being picked up from my audio input capture, and that might be what's causing it.
Right. I remember when I was learning about the Touhou World Cup um, back like a month ago, just before it started. I was really excited for this match, and but I realized it was so far away. It was right at the end of the World Cup. But damn, the month February flew by, and now
Oh,
it's already here.
yeah.
I'm sure Obama appreciates it. Borealis, good luck with your exam, dude.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, good luck, man.
Hey, pal. How's it going, my dude? I believe the reset timer is the same for all score games, which is, I think, is a bit stupid for IN, because IN is both a long score game and a uh, reset heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, you tend to reset more on the earlier stages, and
And
that's what.
also given, sorry,
No, go ahead.
it's given the strict 6 billion uh, cutoff point. You have to get above 6 billion, I believe, to get scores on the rubric, unless it changed for instance, when I first saw it. It's gonna, if making mistakes even in the mid game, is going to be very taxing, because 6 billion is ridiculously hard to get, and it only takes a couple of mistakes to go under. I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really hoping
And
that that's not the case, but more than likely it is.
if I remember, when I originally looked at it in January or December time, it was at 6 billion.
Yeah, they may have.
Also, the scoring rubrics between the different shot types is a bit silly, because certain categories have been pushed more than others. So Yomu has been pushed way more than Scarlet Team, which has been way more pushed than Ghost Team. It's difficult to say about Border and Ghost. I think Border Team's pretty pushed. Magic Team, I'm unaware, but yeah, the Ghost Team world record. The Ghost Team is generally quite generally quite. They're good for relatively early scores, but they have problems. They have problems getting beyond 6 billion. And generally, they have quite a different gameplay style compared to the other teams, given the amount of score bombing. So people who like IN in particular don't tend to play the Ghost Team beyond 6 billion. The world record for other solo characters is way, way, way lower. Solo Yomu is barely a solo shot type. It has uh, both access to the human and yokai gauge, which is what is required for getting score. You need access to both sides of the gauge. If you don't have both sides of the gauge, you're completely useless
Yeah,
for
and
score, because uh, the red side of the gauge is what gives you score from grays, and the blue side of the gauge is what gives you score from point items, and you need both of those to get high scores.
yeah, and for solo humans, You do not. Your gauge does not move towards the yokai side for grazing either. So you kind of have to manage gaining time from the human side or from spell cancels to push it to yokai.
Have we already started, or is it?
I
Is it just getting the streams up?
I think they're just getting the streams up. It's 5 minutes until they start.
Good,
think.
good.
Yeah.
So, Imperishable Knight has a lot of mechanics and a lot of the basic rules that we can set out for scoring are sometimes broken because Imperishable Knight scoring is a toolbox of slightly different esoteric techniques you may need to employ at different times. So, if anything looks weird, we will try to explain it. Feel free to ask questions in the chat. Scoring strategies are very team specific. So Ghost team is a skull bombing team, or relatively more of a skull bombing team. The Scarlet team has a few skull bombs, but it's not really focused on that. Scarlet team is focused on a lot about the amount of grazes they can do and their almost complete mastery of what cancels they can get. I don't know what the Chinese team is using, but as long as it's not a solo shot type, we should have no problem in discussing this.
Yeah.
So solo Yomu is really good for score because solo Yomu gets more time from shooting than Yomu does in Ghost Team. It's ridiculous how much time she gets. And it means that she can do a lot more milking than the other shot types. Her milks are just insane. As well as that, she has a easier to manipulate gauge. It's easier to switch it from side to side, which means you can do some pretty nifty tricks with it. Oh yeah, solo humans get more time from cancels. Overall, solo humans have solo shots in general have like added extras onto them to try and balance out the fact that they're solo shot types. But the fact that Yomu has both access to both sides of the gauge means that she gets the benefits of being a solo human without many drawbacks. The trade-off for solo Yomu, of playing solo Yomu, is actually really, really hard to play.
Yeah.
There's a steep learning curve for solo Yomu, and I'm getting mesmerized by the game Iwana's playing in the background. It's solo Yomu is, because of her kind of rolling gun type of shot, she has a strict sort of movement required for the routing, much more strict compared to other teams. Scarlet team only has to focus on their familiar placement. Once they're placed, they're placed. Once you've locked it in with your focus shot, while Yomu sometimes will have to use some precise movement of your familiar without locking it in. Sakurai knows a lot about how to manipulate Yomu's shots, since Sakurai is the solo Yomu world record holder in extra, and is also actively playing, so he actually knows stuff about that shot type, and I only know stuff from a distance. So hopefully he'll be able to fill in like details on how that works. I need to stop watching what the game Iwana's playing because it's really distracting me from talking.
Yeah, it does look pretty mesmerizing. I don't know what it is, but that's besides the point. Looks like it's starting.
Oh, we started. And IwanaN hasn't even begun. Well, the Chinese player is not here right now.
He's AFK, probably.
Iwana is just playing this puzzle game.
Anyway, I guess we'll just pay attention to what Obama's doing.
So, let's talk about Stage 1. Stage 1 is one of the more infamous parts of Imperishable Night, because if you ever watch an Imperishable Night scorer stream, you're likely just to be watching this for most of your time. The reason why Stage 1 is reset heavy is two reasons. You can make your Stage 1 route very complex, and two, the boss, Wriggle, has a lot of scoring strategies on her, which are very profitable, and are quite strict. You can very easily die on them. Dying so early on is almost, it requires a reset if you're scoring at this high of a level. So, iron scoring is based around mainly the cancels. A lot of people look at the super grazers in Imperishable Night and think, oh, it's a grazing game. But at its core, Imperishable Night is a game about cancelling bullets. So, familiars that enemies spawn, they're the little spell circles that come out of a lot of enemies. When the enemy that spawned them dies, any bullets that are in the familiar circles get cancelled and turned into time orbs. Grazing is certainly an important part of iron scoring, but the cancels are like the bread and butter that you build upon you build your score on. The graze is what makes your score get even higher, but the baseline of iron gameplay is cancels, and the grazes are what you add on as you get better. So point item value is displayed at the bottom left. It's gained by picking up time orbs. So whenever I talk about time orbs, you can just equate that to PIV. Time orbs have a few other mechanics. You gain raw score from them based on how many point items you've collected. So later on in the game, when you've collected more point items, you get a lot of raw score from collecting time. And also, time orbs interact with the last spell mechanic, which lets you face extra spells if you collect enough time orbs throughout the stages. This is not going to be a problem for anybody, because the time requirements are designed around 1cc tier runs, and they're achievable with 1cc tier runs. Scoring, we can get a lot of time orbs from scoring. Ridiculous time orbs. So yeah, as Chris has said in the chat, the PIV is doubled when you are on the human side of the gorge, so the negative side, or the left side, or the blue side. When you're it's basically mandatory to collect items when you're on the blue side of the gorge. If you don't, it's a huge score loss. You're essentially losing half score. The best way of looking at the gorge or POCing is that you're not doubling your PIV with human. What you're doing is getting a normal PIV, and if you're not a human, you're losing score. So you have to always make sure you're collecting items as a human, and routing is designed around this. You change your position on the gorge by collecting time orbs and doing various actions depending if you're a human or a yokai, and you can control it based on whether you're shooting or not. But the main way of controlling it will be through collecting time orbs. So if I'm focused as a yokai, I will gain I'll gain gorge to the right. If I'm unfocused as a human, I will move the gorge to the left. Yeah, I know that I'm echoing. It's I think it's on Levea's side.
Yeah, I think it's on my side, and I'm not entirely sure what to do about it, other than maybe muting my mic or whatever.
If it gets too problematic for me to explain things, I'll try to slow down what I'm saying.
Yeah, and if the echo becomes ungodly, unbearable, then I'll see what I can do.
So, I'll talk a little bit about Wriggle and the strategies you use on her. The main, each spell that you do on Wriggle is grazed in some way and timed down. You milk everything you can get from Wriggle because time that you gain early on in the game is worth so much score later on. So currently Iwan is doing Wriggle's second spell, which involves spinning. It's quite a slow, rhythmic kind of spinning. It's mostly static, but but her movement dictates where the pattern's going to spawn around, and the blue orbs that fire from the familiars are random. So the main difficulty of the spell is mainly avoiding the blue balls while getting good grace. This third spell is about aggressive grazing in a circle. It's static based on her movement, so as long as you get back into the same position for each wave, you can get you can memorize the button presses you need to do. It's very difficult though. It takes a lot of finesse because the closer you get to the waves, you get quite a large increase in your time, but it's so dangerous to do so. There's several different methods of doing it. It varies from person to person. I think the most you can get from it is about 6.2k time. You can get pretty nuts with it if you want to. We'll talk about Wriggle's first spell once Obama starts it. I'll talk a little bit about stage 2 in the meantime. Unless you wanted to talk a little bit about stage 2, Levea. Let's give you some time on the mic.
Yeah, mainly on stage 2, what you're going to want to be doing is you're going to want to be canceling a lot of the bullets that the familiars are shooting out. And what you'll notice is that when the players get perfect cancels, you'll see like a little, kind of like a circular flash kind of come up from the familiars, which means they got a good cancel. That's essentially what they're going to be doing here on the stage, is getting these good cancels so they can get double the amount of time what they would normally get from not getting the good cancel.
Yeah, and Obama's just going to Wriggle's first spell. So you might notice that Obama's spamming shift very quickly. And this is to abuse a little trick in the game's coding. So when you want to graze the spell as a yokai, but Wriggle shoots more bullets at you if you're human. So when you're shifting in and out of human and yokai, there's a little sound that plays, like a little chant sound. Until that sound plays, if that sound doesn't play, you haven't switched. If you spam shift fast enough, you can graze as if you're a yokai, but Wriggle still counts you as a human, so she still shoots the amount of bullets that fire when you're a human, which is much more. So you get a lot more graze. Unfortunately, this means that if you practice this spell and play this spell a lot, you'll realize you get carpal tunnel syndrome very quickly from the amount of shift spamming you have to do. So it's a very taxing spell, and it's quite random based on how Wriggle moves on each wave, because after the first wave, the spell is static based on her position, but her position is quite random, so it's basically slightly... Unless you memorize all the different random positions, it's going to be very difficult to get anywhere. So usually you have to get a good feel for the spell and how the different RNG seeds can interact with one another. So Mystia is a pretty interesting boss. Her mid boss spell has a notorious super graze you can do on it. The super graze looks really hard, and it is hard to learn, but it's surprisingly consistent once you get good at it. Obama said to me he has a 60 to 66% cap rate on it, because it's, other than her movements, it doesn't change much. So as long as you get like decent movement on Mystia, you don't really have much of a problem once you get a feel for the movements you have to make on the graze. And yeah, it seems that the Chinese player is a Ghost Team player, which means both of us have experience with the respective shot types being played here.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of scared that there might be a solo Yomu or a border team.
I mean,
actually, not a border team, a magic team.
Okay.
Because at least if it was border team, you'd be able to speak about
Yeah.
it. So Ian, unlike EUSD, has like a PIV that lasts throughout the entire game, which is why each stage of Imperishable Night scoring matters a lot. You have to focus on scoring each stage from the very start. There's no skipping out on learning a stage, which makes it quite a struggle of a game to get started with. It's not too difficult, but it takes a long time to learn the stage routes, and the difficult part comes in getting really consistent at them. Oh, they've changed it for 4.8 billion. I remember originally it was set at 6 billion, and it was I was scared. Even IwanaM probably could go sub 6 billion if the pressure really got to him, because all it takes is you to make a couple of mistakes on the stage 6 opener, and you can lose a lot of score very quickly.
Yeah.
But generally though, like, once you get the game down, you get scores very consistently, and it's just about like improving your overall, like improving the amount of mistakes you make on average over all of your runs. And it's a very satisfying progression. Yeah, Honey Owl is always satisfying to capture, because it is very scary, even when you have a really high cap rate and you've played it thousands upon thousands of times.
Yeah, it's a pretty risky spell to fail though if you're a resource heavy team like Ghost Team, because if you death bomb to it, then you lose 2 bombs that you could be using on Mystia's last non.
Yeah, so Ghost Team is all about, not all about that score bombs, but that score bombs are pretty important. So dying is pretty dire. People are going to start seeing some Scarlet Team score bombs. Scarlet Team score bombs in a couple of locations, and this is one of them. It's a very minor increase, but with 6 billion, you need to take any score you can get. So the score bombs. Oh, we've got Sakurai.
But Sakurai, hello.
It's nice hearing your voice again, dude.
Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, your mic's a little bit choppy, but
Yeah.
at least we can hear you. Maybe it's like the mic level on Discord. You know how it only activates after a certain amount. Could be that. Actually, sorry.
Just can't go. I just.
Hopefully we can work around it. Levea, you've actually learned the Mistia third spell, Grace, haven't you?
Yes, Song of the Night Sparrow, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with that spell, essentially, behind the Mentos bullets, there's, which I believe that there's arrowheads hidden behind the bullets. So when you graze the Mentos, you get the graze from the arrowheads that will come out of the bullet, which is why they do that. And there are more arrowheads behind the ones that the boss spawns.
Yeah, it's a bit of a interesting way Zoom coded it. You may think that the arrowheads are spawning out of the Mentos, but the arrowheads are under there. The Mentos just despawn. Levea, try turning up Sakurai's volume on your side.
Sakurai's volume. I'm not sure if I can do that.
If you right-click Sakurai's name.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see it. Okay, yeah. How's that? Didn't speak. Sorry.
Is it better yet?
Yeah, sounds better.
Sounds better, yeah.
Okay. Okay, good.
Also, Obama's on stage 3, and he's got just under 13k time into mid-boss Kane, which is it's nice. It's not perfect. You can get up to 15.4k, but Obama generally wants for the scores he's going for above 13.5k time. So it's not bad by any means, but it could be a little bit better. But given how stage 3 can making a scoring mistake on stage 3 usually means you die very quickly, or you have to make a recovery bomb. So generally it's better to play safe and maybe miss a cancel here and there, especially in a marathon setting like we are in now. And coming up on the Japanese side, we're going to see some score bombing on the next non-spell. The Scarlet Team score bombs are worth a little bit on Misty's second non, but Ghost Team, they take the score from score bombing to the next level because they have a lot of raisable iframes, I call them.
I think it was Scarlet 804 team on. Well, if I remember.
Yeah, it's about 800. It's pretty high.
Yeah, and usually you would consume all 4 bombs on high score runs for this, but since Iwana died somewhere and didn't die, he death bombed somewhere. He lost the 2 bombs that he would usually use to graze the rest of that spell. Non.
I think the normal mid-boss will only lose like a couple items. Like if you died somewhere, you would lose way more items. So I think they pick Kane. At least that's the wrong. Might have changed.
Just checking Obama's pace right now. So he's got 22k into Kane, which is pretty solid pace. The world record gets about 24k, so it seems that he only lost time really in the pre-Kane mid-boss section. Yeah, Sakurai will be echoing because I think the echoing is on Levea's side, and Levea is the one during the
I
stream.
mean, if both are echoing, then it's
Yeah. Yeah, it probably is something on my side.
So Obama died on this non-spell, which is sad. It's not the end of the world. Death is quite a chunk of score lost, but it's not. I don't think it's reset worthy. Because if you can very easily make it up with some good play on Reimu, but he missed his the most crucial bomb of the game. Is on the Kane second non-spell. You have to bomb into free treasures for the maximum time, and free treasures gives a lot of score. I think it's definitely over 100 million. It might be 200 million. I can't remember, but Obama told me that combined together, last spell 4 and from Kaguya and free treasures from Kane gave about 400 million when performed correctly. So yeah, cancelling the non-spell by accident is basically a reset unless you're comfortable with going up and trying to recover it. Usually, when you're doing a bombless free treasures, you have to kind of position yourself, because if you get too close to Kane, she shoots out some like bullets to stop you from getting close to her. Some spells in the weapon.
normally it shoots the Mentos, but it's are like small green, like balls.
Yeah. It's a bit difficult because your mic keeps cutting out, Sakurai, but yeah, the when you get some patterns in this game have triggers where you get too close to the boss will fire extra bullets to prevent you from doing certain things. So Buddhist Diamond, for example, if you try to stand above the familiars, Kaguya will just shoot some undodgeable garbage at you. But for Kane, she doesn't send that much. So what you can do is you can you usually bomb and graze. You can graze it like near the end of your bomb, and she only shoots it at the very start. Unlike other patterns in the game where being close, you'll have the boss shoot at you continually. So for free treasures, you can use this to your advantage and graze in the middle the entire time. And yeah, the stage 4 bosses have a huge difference in the score you can get from them. Marissa doesn't have that many. She has scoring strategies, but they're not as profitable as Reimu, which has a lot of really high risk, really high reward strategies you can do, and you can optimize Reimu a lot. But it's sacrifice consistency for it.
So Reimu is all about the grazing. She has several really difficult grazes that are all very high scoring. More subtle, say. Something like cancel time on the non-spell, and ghost team, and it's all without actually destroying them on non-spell 2 and 3. And Reimu doesn't have that way. You milk her for familiars, but mostly because of them bigger. But with Marissa, you just shoot so possible, but you deal half damage to the boss, so you get more time for it, or more time for her health bar, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite interesting. The stage 4 bosses have end up having quite different gameplay, focusing on like with Reimu, it's more focused on abusing the yokai side of the meter and grazing, while for Marissa it's a bit more focused on the milking of the non-spells. Because Marissa has a lot of familiars that are very easily manipulated since they're quite static around her.
Yeah, one thing about familiars though, and I'm not 100% sure if this is exclusive to Ghost Team or Yomu in general, but in some cases they can actually shoot the familiars and not damage the boss when the boss is on low health, which allows you to milk more time out of the boss patterns.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's for all teams. You can't kill a boss by hitting a familiar. You
Okay.
can't transition a boss pattern by hitting a familiar. You can only get her to 1 health. So, sorry, Sakurai, you cut out for a second.
The whole damage thing with the familiar spells on spell, and then the spell, but on non-spell you have to shoot the boss.
Yeah.
Important difference that you have in your for the team if you try.
So yeah, expect to see quite a lot of early game with this. Once you get a run going, especially with Ghost Team, past stage 3, it should be smooth sailing until stage 6. I mean, anything could go wrong, but Ghost Team doesn't seem to have the hardest stage 4, stage 5.
It really doesn't.
And especially a large proportion of the game's difficulty is focused on the final boss, Kaguya, because she gives a lot of score if you don't fail her attacks.
I also want to note that has a weird time on the stage 6 quality because spread just covers the whole.
Yeah.
So shouldn't expect errors there for players, but maybe from IwanaM, his RNG is really bad.
Yeah, but it's you have to get really unlucky for Scarlet Team, because usually what I do is I have my familiars placed to the side, and sometimes your familiars will line up exactly with a fairy spawn, and then you can focus your movement and with your needles on the other two, and you can be flexible with it. It's not as bad as say Magic or Border Team, which have satanic stage 6s, and Yomu is pretty bad as well, because Yomu can only damage the familiars, so she has to aim her shot specifically to not kill any familiars, because the familiars drop items. So if you kill a familiar, you're losing a lot of score.
Yeah, much is worse. Solely if you're unfocused, Marissa's on palm is gonna annihilate the familiars around the fairies.
Yeah.
On lower difficulty, so Marissa, it's basically accepted that you will always kill some of them because the and it's just you only get like one or two familiars. So I don't know if I would prefer playing Magic Team with this, which has like who can't principle. It's really like pick your poison in this one.
Yeah. At the end of the day, in terms of shot type choice, it's I think it's the best thing to do is first of all, do you want to be more Solo Yomu has a high skill ceiling, while other shot types are a little bit more friendlier. So you can really mix and match depending on your playstyle and what's comfortable with you with the shot types in IM, because all 5 of the scoring shot types are pretty are able to get 6 billion to varying degrees of difficulty, but they can all get the threshold like great score.
That's true.
It just depends on how dedicated you are. If you want to go for 6 billion border or magic team, I would certainly admire your dedication. But in terms of like the main scoring shot types, Ghost Team, Solo Yomu, and Scarlet Team, they generally have a much easier time getting over 6 billion because they all have they not only have the ability to do the main scoring strats, but each of the 3 of them have unique properties which lets them pushes them over the edge over Border Team, which is kind of mediocre, and Magic Team, which is well, when you've got Alice as part of your shot type, you're always going to have a bit of a struggle, just how limited your focus range is.
There aren't even things to come to because, for example, some top because then you don't deal any damage.
Yeah.
So you really have to like improvise because so narrow and Marissa doesn't break either. Unlike people who come very the so cover the whole I'm thinking the best shot. Did I say magic? I mean ghost. I mean, Yum Yuriko is objectively probably the best shot because they have fast, which is good. They have good speed, Scarlet teams. So unless you're really used to it, that's a huge issue. And then Yomu's focus, Yomu's shot is so powerful, bosses really quickly, and Yuriko's spread just like part of the screen is covered.
Yeah, I get so jealous of Ghost Team players because of this, because some of the stage routing looks so much less hassle just because of how Yuyuka's spread just hits everywhere.
Yeah, there's like no skill involved in some of the camp. Like it's just sit at the bottom, eyes. Sometimes in stage 2 and stage 3. I know it's not like that. I know you have to. It's completely different from Scarlet Team, for example, or I don't know. It's just one. It's completely different from Scarlet. They actually have to start.
Yeah.
Yuka doesn't do.
Yeah, Iron scoring and PCB scoring are similar in length. PCB can be, I think PCB is the longest. They are very similar though. Iron scoring is quite a good showcase of the run gets longer the better you are. So for me, it might only take 35 minutes to finish a run because I milk a lot less. For Obama, it might take like 42, 43. For Yusuke, it might be 45 minutes because you can add some pretty minor milks that take a long time. For example, in Reimu.
Saying in Reimu.
I didn't hear a lot of that, Sakurai. Could you repeat that?
Just urging you to continue at a.
Okay. Yeah. Oh god, my brain is a bit dead right now, so I forgot what I was talking about exactly. I have very bad short-term memory.
What Rainbow is?
Oh yeah. Reimu has her non-spells. You can time them down for extra score, but the score is very, very minor. It's the point where you may as well, for example, in first her first spell after first non-spell after the intermission phase, you may as well just bomb to set your gauge to a certain number instead of timing it down, because for the demon binding ring you need to have a full yokai gauge, but to get that you have to either graze a lot, which is very risky, which Yusuke does, or you have to uh, time it down for a long time and also get a little bit during the spell itself. Obama often just bombs to get get the yokai gauge to that level, because bombs aren't worth an awful lot. They're worth about 5 million in score, and just getting the time is much more useful. But you can incorporate some risky milks if you want to.
So basically, what I was that the longest is pure V, because first timer it's infinite. There's no play. Speaking in theory, the longest boss fight in Touhou, or
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
any shmup, I guess. You almost me, but because the AI is not very well refined, she usually weak shot types. So I think Aki would usually take the first round because they only take intentionally effectively.
We're coming up to free treasures very soon on Kaine, which is one of the more important patterns to talk about. There is a little grace here on... Oh wait, Iwana does that? I didn't realize Iwana knew the GHQ strat. But yeah, there's a for the second spell, you can stay in that grace spot longer, but it requires some ridiculously precise dodging. I've only seen Alan do it, and he only does it sometimes, depending on how well he's doing in a run. It's kind of interesting to see that Awana does that as well. It was a little bit less risky than what Alan does, because he stands there the entire time. But Awana did a pretty... it'd be interesting to see how much there was gained from that, because it looked pretty risky. But yeah, with free treasures, you see that with all teams, we bomb in to go into the grace circle at the start. You activate the bomb on the non-spell just before, and the damage from the bomb will get you into the spell. The spot in the middle of this Kaine is ridiculously lucrative. So you ideally want to get into every wave, and it's almost always possible to. You can skip a wave if you get bad RNG, and the RNG is based on her movement. And the main sort of pattern of movement you have to make is that you have to lead Kaine to bounce left and right. You have to make sure she doesn't go off in the wrong direction, and the way you do that is that you have to be on a certain side of Kaine when she starts, just before she starts moving, because her movement on the horizontal axis is based on whether you are to the left or right of her. So if you want to move left, you have to be on the right side of her hitbox. It's a bit tricky to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's very consistent. There's only a few RNG seeds where you can die to it, and it's one of the first strategies you really start to learn because it's like 150 million score, and that's a lot. We're finally getting into stage 4 for the first time.
Yeah.
Also, take note that to watch Obama stage 3 for a little bit, because you'll see it's very different from Ghost Team stage 3. The different teams really start to diverge in strategies on stage 3. Like they have to utilize their shot types in very creative manners, and Scarlet Team has one of the best because they can put their familiars in any spot. It's also important to note that the Chinese player had a death bomb on that spell. It's not too big of an issue as long as it's not a vital scoring spell like Free Treasures. Mistakes like that are more than permitted. Stage 4 is a lot of memorization. There isn't anything random on stage 4 at all. And stage 3 as well, other than the mid boss movement, until the boss you're basically playing a very precise route. Ghost Team has a lot easier time on stage 4 because those big death fairies, you really want to POC just before the mid boss. For some shot types, you have to do some pretty funky strategies to be able to get up to the POC line without dying, because in that section you have a bunch of fairies that are spawning one after the other, so each shot type will route a very specific way of killing those fairies to go and get the POC. Ghost Team, because of the spread, has the easiest time with it. Also, Ghost Team has a very mobile, unfocused shot, so they have no problem getting that POC, I wouldn't think. Maybe Levea can speak about Marissa, because I have almost no clue on Marissa.
Right. So essentially, what you're going to be seeing is you're going to be essentially milking the familiars for as much time as you can. With the exception of probably the second spell here, which you see IwanaM doing, you want to kill that off as fast as possible, or because I don't know how to do it. I don't know anyone who knows how to time it down. Theoretically, if you could time it down, you could get a lot more time, but it's just a lot better just to kill it off. Now, and for this spell in particular, you just want to graze it.
Yeah, and the second non-spell is static, based on her position, but her movement is random, and her movement can be very dangerous. It can create some pretty nasty walls. So timing it down does require some pretty... You'd have to memorize some strategies based on different patterns of her movement, and it probably isn't worth a whole lot, especially for Ghost Team, which doesn't have as much time from the milking as Soloyomu does. This intermission phase here, by the way, is one of the hardest sections in the game to POC. I think it's probably the hardest. And no matter what the team, it requires some pretty risky POCing at times, and some pretty odd movement as well.
Yeah,
I find it horrific.
Sorry. Coming up here is actually one of Marius' most profitable nons here, assuming of course that you can milk it properly. I mean, most runs just want to kill this off, and a similar deal with the second non. That it's more dangerous the more you milk, but you can get quite a bit out of it, assuming you don't kill the boss. That's what I'm trying to say.
Honestly, it really doesn't seem worth it. Soloyomu, I would double the time or some shit, but I don't. The team get time and it's so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the problem is that you have to really start scraping score with Ghost Team, because Ghost Team has a pretty it has probably the easiest time getting the mid to high tier scores, but once you start going beyond 6 billion, God, it gets pretty disgusting how much you have to optimize to just really get that extra score.
Well, if it's and you be able to just use mobile bombs
Yeah.
with Ghost Team.
So essentially, Iwana is killing Master Spark on the when the screen's not shaking, so he can get into position on the next spell better. And he's just going to essentially graze while he's minding the position of the lasers. One of the main difficulties of this spell is just it's just running into a laser, or he's getting trapped by them.
Yeah, that was a big loss by Obama, not getting that cancel. It happens. You can make up for it with a sick Raymond, hopefully. Yeah, you get to see some pretty funky stuff here with when you hug fairies on stage 4, and other stages as well, they don't spawn bullets. Oh, that's a very nasty death there by Obama. It's coming at a very awkward time as well, because these fairies, you need to kill them very quickly to get the POC. Thankfully, he's going to get the POC, but that could have went sour very quickly, because this is a lot of point items, and it's getting to the point where PIV is very high. You really want to avoid dropping point items at this stage of the game. Chinese player seems to be tanking resources quite hard right now.
Yeah.
And this is a
survival run, at least for now.
Yeah. We're gonna see Obama encountering Reimu for the first time. So Reimu, I'd say she's the hardest boss in Imperishable Night. I think Obama would agree with me. Kaguya is a close second, but Reimu is disgustingly random and has so many profitable things.
Yeah, I think Kaguya's easy next static effectively. Or I should say of the profitable attacks, not her hardest. You can face not an issue, but if you down
Yeah. So Obama managed to get the difficult scoring spin that you have to do. Difficulty isn't really in the spin, but getting out. Unfortunately, he died on the quote-unquote easy part of the spell, but if you've played it enough time with Scarlet, you'll know that spell can send some pretty nasty stuff at you. It's very easy to randomly die on that spell. And on Reimu's second spell, you're gonna see him score bomb here. This is a weird score bomb. It's used to cancel the bullets, and so that he gets to the point of collection line. Because when you kill that spell, dialogue begins, and when dialogue begins, your items get auto-collected, so you have to be above the POC line. As well as this, not all of the items spawn if you don't have all of a lot of the bullets cancelled. And you see Obama just got past that really nasty section. That section is definitely the hardest part of Scarlet Team stage routing. Got that eventually. But
one thing I always
go ahead.
wondered, are the items really worth that much spell burner on Fader?
They're worth enough that score bombing is better than just capturing the spell and taking less items. If you can get like the perfect running up to the POC line and getting the items, it's better, but you have to get really lucky with the spawn the max amount of items. I think NC worked out that it's just better to bomb and get the consistent score. It's not that much of a score difference anyway. And you can very well make up for it with the Reimu main boss spells. So Demon Binding Ring, which he unfortunately died to, and the next free spells are all. There's a lot you can do on them to get a lot of gains on them. Especially Fader, which is coming up next. Not Fader. Fantasy Dark, I think it's called. The one where there's a lot of aimed amulets that re-aim.
Yeah.
That spell can be very well optimized, and it's pretty nuts how hard it can get at times because there's so many things you've got to be paying attention to. And the Mentos that Reimu fires is random because of Reimu's movement. So you basically have to play the spell a ridiculous number of times to get consistent at it, and to get good time you have to take a lot of risks. IwanaM has the best PB. IwanaM now has the world record, I believe, in Goose Team. We haven't talked much about stage 5. Stage 5 is static,
boring.
except it's boring,
Yeah.
except a few random ferry sections, which Ghost Team doesn't really have much of a problem with, I believe. And Raisin has a couple of scoring strats. They're pretty self-explanatory. The first spell does that's the Chinese player's doing right now. It looks pretty swag, but it's not very hard. It's probably one of the easiest scoring strats you can learn in a Touhou game. You just go in the safe spot and then move down. It's very consistent. I don't think I've encountered any problems with that. Even when I'm on nerves in a run, it's really easy to get into that spot and just move down. Maybe for other shot types that have different speeds, it's a bit more difficult, but... So yeah, Fantasy Seal Blink, Reimu's last spell. This spell is ridiculous. You can gain a lot of grace from it if you know how to manipulate the amulets and amulet spawns. But the most important thing to know about it is that it's in theory memorizable. At least in how the amulets get spawned, there's only a set amount of RNG seeds. So you only have to worry about the Reimu movement once you've memorized the RNG seeds and how to manipulate those. Unfortunately, Obama took a hit on that because you can get a lot of time just from having the amount of manipulation that Obama can do, because Obama's routed basically every RNG seed. Hopefully Obama will be able to write that down in the guide at some point. I definitely want to see what he has to say about that spell, because there's a lot to unpack there, and each one is quite each version is quite different. She can spawn, she can run in a few different directions. And at this point, we're seeing Invisible Full Moon. Wait. Did it want to score bomb?
No, I'm surprised. Usually you score bomb that, and he didn't do it.
Maybe he wouldn't clear if he scored. Well, actually,
He has like
he
6
still
lives,
bomb.
so he should still bombed and suicided for an extra 2 bombs or 3 bombs and then bombed twice again. That would have been the more optimal play there, unless he was going. Actually, yeah, he should have done that.
Yeah, he wasn't even doing that good of the graze.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was
Probably
probably a
because you don't really have
misplay.
to learn the graze for Ghost Team.
Yeah, it's only really done in like it's like an emergency graze more or less.
Yeah. 6 build pace. It looks like 6 build pace to me.
It might be 6 build pace, but I mean, he missed a ton of PIV from Raisin's first and her last. So I'm not sure how that's going to factor into what he's going to get now. And we also have to keep in mind and hope he doesn't fail anything that Kaguya has, specifically Horai Jewel and LS4.
You can see the skull bombing that we mentioned before right now on the Chinese player's side. He doesn't seem to be wanting to suicide because he's very low in lives. So he just wants to clear at this point because getting to the Kaguya last spells is a lot of score. And right now we can see Obama going through a much more difficult stage 5 with Scarlet Team because the random fairies, especially after the mid-boss, are savage. Because not only do you have to kill them, but you have to kill the familiar fairies in a way which gives you the time to stay as a human, so that you can get the POC for its max value. It's much harder than it looks because you've got, not only have you got the random bullshit, you've also got to deal with your gauge the entire time. IwanaM looks like he is in 6 build pace.
Yeah, he might be in 6 build pace. He just has to carry everything through.
Yeah, I'm really unaware of like the scoring breakdowns for Ghost Team. I'm barely acquainted with Scarlet Team, to be honest. I kind of just do it by feeling.
I mean, I definitely see some potential for 6 bill. Definitely, I see it here.
Is Sakurai asleep? What's that sound?
You're right there, Sakurai?
Is he asleep? He said that you had a long train ride and might be tired, but holy shit.
I'm sorry.
This is... This is amazing.
Okay. Anyway.
You might want to...
Yeah. You want me to just throw him out, or...?
Wait, it's snoring stopped. Maybe you woke up?
Oops.
Oops. Everyone heard you snoring, dude.
Dude, I spent 1 hours now, okay? I'm a...
Okay.
Yeah, it made for some great comedic timing. But yeah, Obama had to reset.
Yeah.
So it's looking like how much time? We've got half an hour on the timer. There's still a decent amount of time. But it looks like Obama's going to be only be able to put in 1 credit, or at least clear of 1 credit.
He can reset... clear 1 yes, for him now. But he has to... It's not like he has to get...
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Iwana's doing pretty well on Kaguya.
Yeah, Kaguya is a... There's always the saying that there's nothing that a perfect Kags can't fix. And especially with Ghost Team's high PIV, Kaguya can Kage can give you quite a large chunk of score.
So the Kage doesn't really do that herself.
What, sorry?
The stage gives a lot of items. Kage,
Yeah.
the high POV doesn't matter. However, is every time. Spell alone is 100 million, maybe, but
Yeah. You get a decent amount of items from like you still get items from each spell. Wait, does Spring Infinity get items? I keep forgetting. I think it does.
Yeah, it does.
75.
So yeah, it's quite interesting to see like the differences between like the two runs that between the Chinese player Nayutan and IwanaM, because even though like Nayutan's used a lot more resources, which is going to be a big decrease in his endgame bonus, the score is much less because mistakes in IN really add up. You may think, oh, that like losing a score bonus here and there is not too bad, but trust me, one of the main ways you gain score in this game is just capping spells, and it's all good and well adding scoring strategies to your route, but if you can't cap the spell with the scoring strategy, you should just do it normally in most cases.
Assume you played
There goes 4-eye duel.
20 million, they have shit reflexes that's alive gone too, and alive is 37.5 million.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Lives are worth so much. Oh yeah, here's Horaijul. The everybody has to learn it if you want to score IN. It is disgusting. It's just static. You memorize basically every button press of it. Unfortunately, there's not much leeway between how long you can hold your button presses, especially with Scarlet Team, which has a very fast focus speed. So you're going to be spending the entire time basically playing a rhythm game that you have memorized in your head. You use the colors of the ball to work out when you need to tap, and you look at the lanes that form behind you when you do a restream to work out how far you can tap into the restream. But yeah, this spell's worth a lot. There's a lot of bullets, and you want to graze basically every wave. And near the end, you have to go near the top so you can collect the items that Kaguya drops. You can. I don't know how if he timed it. If he timed it out, I can't remember.
He capped it.
He capped it. I know he capped it. It's just I was wondering if he actually timed it out fully.
I think he did.
Nice. Yeah, you see the Chinese player managed to get to the last spells, so he still has a bunch of score he can get there, but yeah, he really needed those resources to instead of suiciding on Raisin's final. So yeah, there's not much you can do on the last spells to gain score other than getting a little bit more risky with your grazing, but it's generally quite you can memorize a lot of it, except last spell 4. Last spell 4 is memorization, but it's worth a lot. Messing up last spell 4 is about anywhere between 80 million to 100 million lost. I don't know how much the raw
Is it
time
100
is,
mil?
but
I thought it was like 200 mil. I thought.
Oh, it might be. I can't remember. It might. It's probably more actually. Yeah, because the time you gain from each graze is probably quite a lot.
It's uh, time more by mean. All it is
Yeah.
over 24,000.
Hmm. Yeah, it's ridiculous, that part.
At what? 30 million, right? So I think pretty. How many? 0,
Ooh.
7, right?
Oh, yeah, taking a hit on that last spell was quite nasty. Also, like the spot in the middle is they use a dialogue visual cue to line up their hitbox with the middle. Getting out is generally not too bad, even for Ghost Team with their wonky movement speed. I think they have an okay time with it. But damn, the hardest part of the last spell 4 is doing the spell normally.
So if I did animation errors, which I did, the time orbs alone are like, oh, okay. As you get, great as you get, which is important. And well, overall, I thought not unit. So cast 2 spells, each worth again. From myself.
Yeah.
So
we gotta.
Oh, we have win in all likelihood because you know the ice Obama needs to the 6.4 to be what IwanaM just got, and like I'm sorry to say, the Chinese need to get anywhere near this.
Yeah.
Something that
Still nice to have some showcasing of some I don't want to say lower tier, but you know when you're like more new to the to iron scoring, it's nice to show off the differences and maybe some just some tips about what not to do, especially when you're under pressure. You might think, oh, I need to like put in all of these scoring strats, but really survival is quite important for score. You want to be building up a repertoire of techniques on top of your survival, so you don't want to be dipping too much of your survival for raw score. You want to be because I think you can get like 4.3 billion just from POCing well and without like using any like fancy scoring strats and just no miss, no bomb, full spelling. I think that's the high scoring, like one of the most high scoring non-scoring based LNNs I've seen. That doesn't use any scoring strats. It just POCs well and LNNs. So you can really see how much raw score you can get just from having your fundamentals down. You don't need to do an the fancy stuff only really comes when you want to go beyond 4.3 billion, going towards 5 billion, when you start incorporating things like the grazers, the bombing into the free treasures, stuff like that. But you can get pretty high scores even without bombing in this game. I know Poitaro has, I think, 5.5 billion no miss, no bomb, full spell, which I personally am not too interested in the category, but it's still pretty ridiculous, pretty nuts, because you miss out on a lot of the more risky stuff you can do in a when you have access to bombs, because bombs are not only just tools for score, but they are also a safety net that let you do harder strategies. And especially in a long game like Imperishable Night, you can accept a few small mistakes here and there, and bombs really let you play the game to its fullest, I'd say. Because this game is designed around abusing its mechanics to gain ridiculous amounts of score. I thought Poitaro got higher. I thought Poitaro was like...
He's like 5.7, I think.
Yeah. I knew it was over P&D.
Yeah.
But, because I know his goal is 5.8 billion LNNFS. I don't know how much Magic Team would need. Magic Team scores, I think, 6.1?
Like 6.154, I think it is. Somewhere around there. It's slightly higher than Border Team.
Pardon me. Oh, it's not full spell. Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'd be really interested to see why Iwana didn't do those score bombs.
Yeah, because it sure if the score bombs probably would probably pushed him to at least 6.2 at least. Considering the value of the point items should probably be a lot more on stage 6. I wonder if he'll actually. I wonder if he'll do it on this run that he's doing, assuming he completes it.
Yeah, these ice score calculations are quite wacky, in my opinion. I think a better way would be doing it would be looking at the not just like the like basing it off of the how high the world record is in that category is, but just looking statistically at like where people high scoreboard like tend to be, how many runs is like at 5 billion, around there, 5.5 billion, 6 billion, because the shot types really don't have a very unlinear and very different difficulty curve. For example, Yomu's very hard to get like started with, but once you get good at her, 6 billion is probably the easiest out of all the shot types. So there's probably a better way of doing it, just by doing it using a bit more statistics and not really making it just an exponential function. Scarlet has difficulty because of Reimu, but it certainly is. Solo Yomu is really hard to control, and getting cancels with her probably requires a lot of practice and patience.
Not to mention the fact that you can't refocus her shot the same way that you can with Ghost by just holding shift. You have to do a little bit more to keep her shot focused on the boss and directly in front of her.
That her shot.
Yeah, you've got a lot more time with her, so maybe you'd be best.
Yeah.
Looking at this.
So, saying Scarlet is harder than Yamu is meant. you 0.4 with Scarlet and I don't know, 7.5, then I think they're about the same. Because Yamu has some severe disadvantages in stage that he does not have, and also it doesn't matter so much in the other stages, but in those two it's bad. In stage 4 you're really prone to dying, and instead more prone to destroying familiars, so you whereas Rainbow will be way harder than Marissa even if you play Yamu. So it's Yamu's way easier for 6 billion, no about this. Yamu's also way easier for 3. You have to see it in advantages and Ghost Team Yamu. The first to mind for that you can't know, yeah, so you either destroy them or they or you avoid them somehow at the way you are. That's obviously the big problem with Stolen, but she had actually her bomb is not good. I don't really care. So can graze and shoot at the same time, but unlike Yuriko, she's Yuriko. So that's actually go from this is some really apparent, but it should on some with you that it may not be quite enough to just 100 time or so you kill a spell, but it is on Yamu. You only need for your Kaido for human. Another advantage she has is also fast, simply bigger. Timing is perfect. Yamu gets more time, and obviously she also gets more time from shooting. Just all, but that's an advantage. Advantage that also here. One thing I don't understand: 3 great owls. I only think you would have made more to get 2, but she's better at Orland to go to team. So simply the only disadvantage that Solo Yom has is that she can't get past her. And that's really only an issue on 2 stages. In other stages you made it won't, but besides that she's strong. Yuriko way stronger. She gains more time. The Levea is actually a huge advantage. If we take stage 3 for example, to Yuriko to actually, but you don't have to do that on Solium because you can that you set for the fairies on the other side. You can stay for human and gain actually time from shooting even though you're doing the cancels, which you could ghost here. It's a minor point, but I think it's important, worth mentioning because it happens. So like cancel anything and teams. I'm done. Why
Nice.
you simply
Yeah, Yomu if I was going to play another shot type, I think I've decided I'm probably going to play solo Yomu.
Same
Just
here.
because
Sorry.
she just looks like so fun to play. I mean, Ghost. The problem when I see Ghost Team is that I'm not a big fan of score bombing, and it just looks like a less fun Yomu. So why would I pick another shot type? I just play the fun shot type.
Yeah, I think, like, in my personal opinion, because of, like, look at Ray- it just looks so dumb. You sit on her and press X, and then you move
Yep.
from left to right, from right to left. I mean, come on, dumb.
Yeah, it's
Like
not.
I'm playing DD.
Yeah, it's
Actually, that's close. But you don't really do anything. You just press X and get the score, and that's
yeah. It's really just not how like it's just not again. It doesn't make sense with the iron scoring system really. Like if you wanted to play a score bombing game, the iron's not really about it. There's there's a little bit of it, but unless you have a really like, unless you love Ghost Team, I would just play Yomu and have the gameplay that is more suited to Iron system, which is more about gorge management and like the things that go around that, like grazing and also collecting items.
Actually, now that I see stage 2 again, before you get normal to a special random fairies at the end,
Yeah,
Yuko can just Yomu has to move around the whole screen.
yeah. The stage two cancels are quite consistent to get, but they're very hard to learn and mediocre to master. They, while at least the Scarlet team, having the access to a spread shot really makes that random section, fairy section, much easier. And random fairies give a decent amount of score if you get the cancels just right. So I just play survival on the random fairies because if you do random fairies wrong, you can just die. But yeah, it's nice to with Ghost Team especially if you Ghost Team has the advantage of just not having to deal with random fairies, which is a bonus. I really hate those random fairies. But yeah.
Yeah, they can just really mess you up because if imperfect cancel on those, you suddenly have a screen full of recovering from that.
Yeah, it's just it's in a game where it's more about strict routing and less about as much RNG. Having these kind of like randomly placed RNG sections can be just a bit frustrating. So and they don't really they don't give enough score to really like optimization of them isn't that much required unless you're going for like really top scores. Like the Yomu world record holder, he has very precise control of his familiar shot, so he can very easily for the random fairies pick them out and get really nice cancels. But a lot for other shots, you just want to kill them. You don't want them to fly off the screen because they drop items, and you don't want to die obviously because dying this early on especially is just such a huge score loss, especially with the next section coming up.
If you don't Yamu, it's because you do get an excess life over So you can die one time. Do it the last you do because at might not get full ball and the game the items. So
Yeah.
if you in stage 2 is not a reason for a solo young player to really come to your game. In which case, but just it wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah,
Not good, of
especially
course, but
especially when I guess when you're going for high level as well, just getting out of stage 1, making a mistake on stage 2, if because yeah, you're right about the extra life. If you can just play well the rest of the game, then it shouldn't really matter too much. With solo Yomu, it's definitely a shot type where you can make up for that, and as long as you don't die, you're gonna have the same amount of lives clearing,
yeah.
and that's what really matters. That's such a huge score bonus.
I think no, so I don't think. Yamu uses one on Wiggle and one on stage 4 for the POC before Marissa, boss Marissa. I don't think she has any other left changed since I last looked at it, which was admitted. Like, can't really see her bomb. Pretty shit for scoring. You just
Yeah,
you have to start at the top of the screen so you get the items and max that. It's complete nonsense for score.
I think I think I saw the Chinese player using it on one of the Raisin non-spells to switch to human, but I don't know whether that's necessary or not. Maybe he just got a bad cancel.
Well, see, here's that's something that you might do, maybe, but Yombo needs 50 time less so she can
Yeah,
for your pack.
yeah, that's true.
So
But-
generally you don't do that with like if you can for you are like you're at like notch 1, then you need very little. The other like for human. So
That's
I mean
not too bad, yeah.
it's obviously a bit more difficult on per bullet making to get to either side of these. You could do it at the start of the game. You get the although you only get one bomb back, which is two of them, and the bomb at the start like 20,000. Pretty so.
Yeah, I think Iron was deliberately designed around not being able to milk as much as you want, just because of the shooting as a human mechanic and the amount of grazing you can do. I don't think Zune wanted to promote you spending as much time abusing his patterns. There is time-based parts of these stages. So stage 2, if you kill some of the fairies too late, you'll miss a fairy spawn. But you never and IN are gonna miss fairies from timing patterns down. Outside of that.
By the way, final run for everyone.
Yeah. Pretty scary now. Obama has to
mean,
just push through with this run, no matter how it goes.
yeah, yeah, he's in stage 3, so he's past the gen. But
He's
still,
got, yeah, he's got good time going into this mid boss, but the problem he's gonna have is he doesn't have a bomb for free treasures. So if he doesn't die, he's gonna have to suicide at some
actually
point.
get a bomb
He gets one at the end of the stage. It's Barry,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, do those give bombs?
He gets one bomb.
Gives bomb. Okay, yeah. I wasn't 100% sure. It's only come up for me once before, so I wasn't too sure. But yeah, you have to make sure that you have a bomb for free treasures, otherwise you lose a lot of score. And it's worth suiciding if you don't have one.
Yeah, but you get to be money and like not some comparison to, but do get stage 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the mid boss.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I forgot that these last fairies. I tried to run through it in my head. I'm like, oh, the mid boss doesn't give a bomb. How is he gonna get the bombs? But yeah, no, he has. He died anyway, but it wasn't too damaging. It's a bit annoying, but it's
yeah, I
expected to
think
happen.
that was okay.
There's definitely much worse places to die. And now he has plenty of resources to play around with. Kane is, as long as you get free treasures, you could very easily salvage a train wreck Kane, as long as he has free treasures and does really well on Reimu. It's not ideal, but Kane first spell can be a bit tricky. It's on paper, it's not too bad, but it can throw some really nasty stuff. And all it takes is to be slightly nervous, and you can make an error on it. You can make it easy for yourself if you don't move around too much, because it is slightly aimed. So you can create like little lanes for yourself if you try to be stationary. But yeah, the spell after that GHQ is static. You just memorize it. So you should be safe for the rest of Kane. As long as he gets his free treasures going, he should be able to get to Reimu and have a good shot of that. So hopefully, looking pretty promising. One is going into stage 4 now, just under 40k time. I don't know what this ghost team, if 40k is ideal, if they can go above 40k on that or not.
Yeah, okay, I haven't paid enough.
I'm not 100% sure myself.
We did some good research.
Yeah. One thing Obama has to worry about as well as Scallop Team is that you have to make sure your familiars are placed in a manner that lets you finish off Kane. So sometimes you have to unfocus. Ideally, you don't want to unfocus, but sometimes you do on that spell if you need to make a quick tap. So if you do that, you have to replace your familiars to kill off Kane, because you don't want to miss the score bonus, because it's pretty decent. It's maxed out because of how much you graze. Yeah. Yeah, 42k time, stage 3. That's more than fine. That's really that's kind of like where Obama wants to be. You could have more if he optimized a bit more, but given the pressure of it being the final run, this is pretty good.
Iwana's isn't that good because he should get way more team users. What did he not use?
I only watched Iwana like right as he got to the end.
Me neither. Like a normal form, like 100. That normally you can only. So that's why those teams should have it. Stage 3. Because I don't think that the big race box make a difference.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't. At least Obama said he didn't notice any differences.
I mean,
Wait, China just reset?
Yeah, he can't reset.
Maybe he resets. Maybe they give him an extra time because he was late. I'm not too sure.
No, I think they just shut his run, I think, or his stream.
Well,
I mean, it could be that he's stopped flatter. That would be.
yeah, it probably was a mistake.
Yeah, that could.
Still, it was nice. It was nice seeing his gameplay, showing off that you don't have to. You can score IN even if you're like not the strongest at scoring. IN does let you make lots of mistakes, even though the game is very hard. You have a lot of wiggle room. So.
What's that about?
That's what I said. Wiggle. I didn't say wriggle. I was trying. I didn't notice the pun afterwards, and I was like, "Oh damn! I wish I made the pun." It's not like I was avoiding it. But yeah, if you want to score the game, it's definitely one of the games with it. Dying doesn't really make you go off route that often, or making a mistake doesn't really make you go off route that often. And like, yeah.
First change because of bomb. The shot's full.
Yeah.
My some issues start with the route if you die in place, but then again, you really know.
I'm just doing pretty good at the moment. Missed that cancel, which makes this a little bit more awkward. So this section here, if you watch Obama's screen, this section is very tight. Getting the POC can be quite tricky, and even then he grades some items, which isn't optimal. You do not want to grade items ideally, but it's a very hectic section. It's super easy to die, so making sure that your POC, getting all the items of the POC line is a secondary concern at that point, because dying on that section, you can very easily chain death. I brought back up Nayutan's stream. I don't know what's happening.
It's definitely the hardest stage section. Maybe not for cancel time, it's stage 4. Doesn't have, but definitely for the people game.
Yeah, I really like stage 3 and stage 4 are pretty damn well designed, because the stage sections are like you can tackle them. You tackle them so differently between the different shot types, and playing the different shots really makes you feel like you're playing like such a different route. it really showcases like the shot types' strengths and weaknesses in each of the stages, especially stage 3 and stage 4. Yeah, I mean Japan. It's possible that Obama could do really well on Reimu and do really well in the rest of the game and get uh, over Iwana's current 6.1.
You
Oh dear, Obama got a death there.
I mean, here's the thing. Good, but I don't think his score is going to like even because he needs score to be his current score. I don't think he's actually gonna. Second place, sure, he just needs to clear basically. I don't think he can. Not to mention, I don't know what the potential. He might just improve.
Yeah, it's unlikely, but it would be nice to see a live PB. It is possible with Obama's routes, but
Of course, it's been trying for a long time now.
yeah.
Battle. Like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
It was only 5 million, but it was still a PB.
Scoring grade is last spell 4, I think. It's either last spell 4 or
Actually, it's actually
treasures.
But
I mean,
Actually, horror actual.
probably.
I mean, are we just saying the main game, or are we including extra as well?
Well, SP already jewel bonus was capped and last spell 4 not, so 50 jewel can't get. Apping the lastly gives you have to consider those two things as well. Comparable. Or jewel does score high, but you can't just compare them. So in this case, it doesn't just work. On investment stats gives up like 6,000, but you can get up and doing all of you get over 250 from it. It's
Oh, I did the meme video no stream. It's pretty legendary. has
actually yes, like in the test scoring, but well, we are not tasked, so that doesn't. I mean the tag what 80 troubleshooting. Get that. Well, shit gives like time in the test. It's ridiculous.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm much. Uh, Tasks, human doable tasks, as in like doing the strats that are like just that are really unlikely to be that are still able to be done by human.
Theoretic score or just about. That's it. If you take everything best I've ever whatever at about sorry, maybe but around there.
Mm. Obama's current pace. Exactly. Yeah,
His current net 6 billion, but I don't know that.
Oh, the stream froze. What happened here?
Yeah, okay. Definitely froze.
is this
Oh,
frozen
there we
on?
go. It's back. It's back.
Welcome
so
back. One is doing the skull bombing this.
Oh, this score is really high.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually you don't see like 3.3 like until like you're midway through stage 6 stage portion.
By the way, Carissa, yes, yeah, shot at testing because incredibly quick switches between since she needs less time and mechanics and time gain from shooting. Those are the three things that then a team shot would. The shows that quite well switching on the first month. The task two of by back and forth the whole time, and actually you can do this. Where actually the task better.
Like during these this sort of competition, if people like change their strategies and do more risky things, would he want?
So Ivana is definitely on to beat his current run, the one he's the 6.1. He's definitely going, but I don't. But I don't think he can allow us. But what for the managed shield, it might be worth. It's more score than Scarlet Team because because the familiar is way quicker, so Ghost Team has way more time for to grade us. Obviously, don't magic, but both for the team take really long because of familiar, so they have to win.
Oh, that's unlucky.
Well, it still looks to be
right
doing
now,
pretty good.
if he does. As well.
This ball and the time of the game. Around 40 million. Spell bonus was a bit higher on the last game.
Oh.
But yeah, Barma on PvP even up the not good on wave. Need to reset.
I think he's. I think, but it's.
Did the bomber die to the fairy?
Yeah, he does.
So, wow. Yeah, okay. That might actually do it. Because that's like. That's basically the biggest loss on. Or a jewel immediately or something. Fairy is the biggest no-no in the. Yeah, so he, China has, and as long as Obama clears, he's gonna get. It's the train where. But he can't get first place anymore, even if game over now or quit. He can't get a speed one. I'm not even sure, but that's all. Resist stage 6. Kage. She never does.
Yeah, Kage is the boss of if it can go.
This sounds stupid to a lot of people probably, but more one than Vanilla. No, I am getting to Kaguya more often, but
If Nayutan is. And like maybe. Does. Is the time, but yokai mode. If you're still in human mode, you can kind of malice cannon down the familiars using your Remelia shot, and get some good graze on that spell. It's not always seen, but it's nice to at least have it showcased here because it's one of the cooler interactions that Scarlet Team has. Every shot type can do it to some degree. Keeping the familiars active as a human and switching into a yokai shot. Usually, Ghost Team doesn't have to do it because Ghost Team has the power of Yomu, but Scarlet Team and Magic Team can abuse this quite a lot. So in Aaron's in Astronomical Entombing, you can use it with Malice Cannon to just destroy the familiars because your Alice Laser hits all of the familiars because they're still active. And Obama dies to the Impossible spell. That's Lifespring Infinity. The world record dies on this, so it's okay to die on this as well.
and the extra kill on the second fall with because she shoots out like time, and if you misdirect them threat tap instead because you can only send one. That's why it's not the optimal strat in the but the fast way. Number of
that horrible death was, yeah.
That hurts.
It happens.
Yeah.
Horrible will just sometimes do that to you. And wait, Horrible doing that to you, I mean, you do it to yourself. It's memorization, but even the best of us stub our toes on it. And it's right at the end of the game, is this memorization check.
But Sakia's bomb is she may hit a fit, but she can't. So even if he bombs 1200, he doesn't lose a fit. Or bomb varies. You could do that and
Yeah, Obama died in the second last spell there, which is very. It happens, but it's sad. Oh, the Kage last spells are ridiculous. Even the ones that aren't last spell 4, they all give like 40 million spell bonus, so dying to them is such a disaster.
they also get that time bonus.
Yeah.
And if you give you like a second, I think 40 million and 60 million time bonus left, gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So with the timer,
Because I don't know, but it's like over 10 seconds you progress by an hour, not by half an hour. So loss from the second is better.
yeah, sometimes. Obama prepared that just for this. Yeah, Obama got 5.4. It happens. I mean, Imperishable Night is a game where he would have been set
It's
like
not a
way
running
way below.
It's not a run he would have. But
Now we get to see if Nayutan's going to be able to clear. This is
Oh,
night. But maybe start the run so and beat them.
I'm not too sure. They might have ruled that he got like a little bit of extra time because he was quite late.
But that would be his own.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, item cap on the pay extend is caused by people cancelling at the wrong time. If you memorize the timing, it will never happen. So it's like it's just worth to take a ever so slightly worse cancel just to make sure that you don't drop that extend.
You could also just mod.
I think Obama got it right. You can. I've never had the extend thing happen to me, but like if your cancel timing is just too perfect, it will just happen. Is the Dear Hero game? Is that the game that Alan plays on stream as well? Because I mean that would be the second Japanese IM player I've seen playing that Dear game. Because when I look at Alan's stream on YouTube all the time, it's like sometimes I am what I'm there to watch. Sometimes it's EOSD when I'm not there to watch, and sometimes it's a Dia game, which I have no idea what it is. But it looks pretty hard. It looks like kind of I want to be the guy in terms of like kind of bullshit. I don't know if there's any much else to talk about. I think we covered most of the things. Like my goal for this commentary was try to give like a nice introduction of iron scoring to the masses. Since a lot of people will be watching the World Cup here.
I go for the competitive pace I manage. barely to get working.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, watching the final longer right? Heard iron extra. I heard it's like the category to pro score.
Yeah. Iron Extra. Sakurai says, score Iron Extra, everybody. The 54 people watching this and the people watching the VOD should score Iron Extra. Sakurai says, if you're moderately good, you'll beat his PB in some time.
Even if they start from because the route has developed so much that on a really good run you could get like top of what I have right now. So it started like
I know you almost PB'd recently, Sakurai, if it wasn't for that death.
yeah,
Like,
that after a modern day threat.
Yeah. So it's nice to see you playing the game again. Me and Obama always wanted to meme it into existence, but we weren't too sure whether you were interested in hopping back in.
So wanted to meme what into existence.
You playing the game, you know, like with Iron 2020. We were kind of hoping that Iron 2020 would get you to play again.
Completely fell for that. I need to.
I mean, we've hopefully got a few more people picking up Iron because of it.
Well, I'm not. I'm just coming back to follow. One more hundred.
Yeah.
They just happen to be in one stage. Well, the only movie they can explore is pain. And I don't know what people see when they think what that's the only. Imperishable at the end. Like on the red arrowheads or some shit, like some dumbass. Idiot. I don't know. That it's the new rat or just the double here at the end. Will probably be the funniest extra decades. No. It's extra. Where you can fail a spell and plug a ball. Can't I'm supposed to be. Some of the that's how I'm up to match.
Yeah, and isn't your out of the shot types your move's the most optimized? I imagine so.
I don't really know, but I think so.
Yeah, so if you want to quote-unquote free world record. Go for one of the wonky shot types, and grind with ASL's old routes and see what you can get.
I fear one would probably be either rain but you don't you from rainstorm doesn't give you anything.
Yeah.
It's nonsense, so you don't do that. He does it on the Marissa one which I thought was raises it on for every time. I never tried insane, so it will be for me to say, okay, Safiras are gonna be yeah, he doesn't do it on Rain. Marissa. Rainbow had one hard can at the end of the stage, everything else was had to survive everything for hard. So weak. And I don't know Marissa, but it's probably about so if you would easy extra record go or either
Yeah.
you don't have to
But also,
wait anything. It's all about the cancel. PSCs are like it's pretty free and especially the cheek of everything. So I mean like you don't even have and well like the Phoenix. The rest is pretty
yeah. I wouldn't mind like trying it just to see like what it's like. But if I wanted to play, if I was going to play extra, I would prefer to play a non-meme category and actually play a good shot.
the good thing about all that comes Imperishable just kind of stubbornness and finally so depending on where you not let's say 40 at the time. I'd love to say that if you die at the beginning, might as well use
Yeah. So I don't think this Chinese player can what's his name? Nayutan. I don't think Nayutan can DB. I think he's yeah, he's quite far below what we need, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, he could bet up.
Yeah.
Because I think he. So that.
Yeah. Alright, Jules. Alright, Jules, the one reason not to play iron scoring because it's such a it's such a gateway. You have to be able to capture the spell ideally. I mean, you can fail it, but damn, it's such a hit to your score that ideally you need to be able to capture it the majority of the time. You need to play horror duel thousands upon thousands upon thousands of times to get consistent. And it's not a fun consistency grind. There's interesting things to consistency grind in this game, but horror duel is not one of them. It lasts so long. Oh damn, he didn't manage to get out.
Yeah, so basically I tried hold and it was a good time I started learning onto and stuff. That was not fun.
Yeah. It's just so much of a long memorization you've got to do. And it's so like inconsistent. Your taps, the restreams are slightly different each time, and it's just such a mess.
Yeah.
I don't get during the I put on so attend. I never managed to get the second stream without dying pretty soon after. Not good.
Yeah, that's the end of this match.
Yeah.
It's sad that Obama didn't manage to get to show off his true power today, but if you want to see Obama on his road to PBing, definitely tune into Obama's stream and definitely check out Iwano as well. Iwano's a really good player. He recently got the world record for Ghost Team, so he's also at the peak of his game. And if you want to check out Iron Scoring, feel free to hit up any of us. I mean, Levea streams almost every day. And yeah, it's been really fun commentating. I always love commentating, explaining the game to people, showing off how good this game is. Hopefully, I'll be streaming this more in the future too.
I would have been in the beginning, but not the round, because I don't know the rounds. Yeah, but I know the game, so I could have followed them with the round. It's really unfortunate that the mic decided that maybe.
Yeah, it
Not
sucks.
really sure what the problem was. I mean, we'll get it work. Hopefully it was good enough.
Anyway, anyone have any closing statements or whatever? Because I'm gonna have to shut down the stream in a few minutes.
Statement.
I am extra.
You heard the man. Play Iron Extra. Just play Iron.
Yeah,
Play
Iron in
Score.
general.
If you're a new player and you want to get into Iron to score, play lower difficulties. Lower difficulties have a lot of the same fun and essence that the higher difficulties have. They're just easier. Maybe you won't be doing it as cool of the super grazers, but the fun in the stages is still all there. Playing on normal and hard, you can definitely get into Iron Scoring, and feel free to hit up any of us if you want to try it out, and we can give you the info and stuff.
Alright.
And watch Levea's stream. He streams every day basically, and he's going for his second P&D, so it's gonna be pretty hype.
With that, thank you everyone for watching. Have a nice day.